Hey guys, welcome to the show. Subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcast and all that jazz. Upcoming dates that I got: April 23rd, Saturday, at the Rec Room with Pablo Francisco. Tickets are now on sale. Get those at www.recroomhb.com. And then June 17th, I'm at the Rec Room with Kate Quigley. Get those tickets at www.recroomhb.com. Still trying to book other shows at other venues. It's still a little hard because of the COVID and pandemic and stuff, but we will get there. So keep supporting, and I appreciate that. Also, subscribe, rate, and review to the show on Apple Podcast. We're trying to get to 100 reviews. We're at 97. So we need 3 lucky winners. Also, Alan Lee will not be here today. He was going to be, but we had to change it a little because usually we do 45 minutes, but today's show, we're respecting the guests' time because they're very, very busy. So we had to cut the trusty sidekick so I could ask all my questions. And I just didn't think it would be fair to Alan to sit through it and not ask any questions. So basically what I'm trying to say is Alan Lee will not be here because I love him. In a cruel, cruel way. That's what I'm trying to say. Other news, book me on Cameo and celebrity voiceover. That would be cool. I could use the support on that. But back to business. We got a great show today. This guy is one of my favorite actors. You've seen him on Wings. You've seen him in Dracula Dead and Loving It, The Shining. And he's on a show right now called Chicago Med, which is on the TV right now, acting alongside one of my favorites, Oliver Platt. We've also seen this guy in Sour Grapes, Wings. I said Wings. Late Last Night. And you've seen him in a whole bunch of other movies. He had his own sitcom that he was the star of called The Weber Show. And he's going to be here on Reza Riffs with Keith Reza, the great Steven Weber. So, if you're fans of Steven Weber, thank you for listening to this show. I hope you become fans of me. Subscribe, rate, and review. If you're fans of me, I hope you become fans of Steven Weber. And yeah, follow him on the Instagram. It's one of those interesting stories, how I got Steven Weber to agree to this. I Instagrammed him like crazy until he said yes. So that just tells you, folks, the pursuit of happiness will always follow through. Anyways, the best coffee is IHOP coffee. I hope you all agree on that. All right, guys, enjoy the show with Steven Weber, and I hope it makes you guys smile.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hey, Steven.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, man. Where are you?
I'm in Huntington Beach, California.
I'm in LA. There you go.
I thought you were in Chicago.
I'm going tomorrow. I mean, I'm back and forth so much that I've lost track of time between that and COVID and my decaying brain and through age. I'm a goddamn mess.
I actually have a gig in Chicago in 2 weeks.
Don't call me.
I was gonna say, hey, you want to go see me do stand up?
No. Here's the thing. I mean, one of the things is that I have no social life in Chicago.
Yeah.
That half because of COVID, the other half because of how freaking cold it is in the winter. It's getting better. It's getting milder. So that's not, and the other half, because there are three halves, is that there's no time. It's not like it used to be in the old days when I was younger and I'd go on location. We'd all band together, me and the other actors or crew members, and go to club. Gone. And by the time you're done with the day,
yeah,
it's like I just have to take a pill and go to sleep.
Yeah, I get that. I lost you. Are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, yeah, I get that. I mean, usually I just like to perform and go home and sleep.
Yeah.
But
that's the misunderstanding. Is that the word about show business? Is that how glamorous it is? It ain't that glamorous, man. It's really not. I mean, there are perks from time to time, but for the most part, it's early mornings or late nights and exhaustion or boredom, all that stuff.
It probably sucks too, because like now, like I looked at your Instagram, you got a fake assistant who's messaging people on your behalf.
That's a sign of that's. But the thing is that I could take it as a sign that, wow, I must be famous and doing well. When the reality is, these bots and these crazy people, I don't know what they're doing or why they do it. They do it. They do it to everyone. I have friends. Oh shit! I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Sorry, hold on here. Voicemail. Send to voicemail. And see, I have people, around me that need me. But I'm devoting my time to you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, but.
And again, Jesus.
Good thing I only released the audio.
Oh, good. Thank God. Yeah, that's good. All right, good.
Yeah. But no, I've fallen for the bots before. Like not for you, but I fell for Oliver Platt's bot.
Plattbot.
Yeah. So like his bot wrote me and said, hey, because like he's my favorite actor.
Right.
And he was like, hey, he wants to do your podcast. And like we were having a conversation for like, I don't know, an hour. And then I found out it was a fake account.
Like, what is the end game? What's the goal? What do we, is there monetization or is it just pranking? I mean, it's just another indication of, and I posted something today about the clear trajectory of humanity, which is in the toilet. Humanity attempts to do high-minded, compassionate, thoughtful things, but it can't help but shit itself all day and all night. So there are people who engage in that, in really minor pranksterism, or it's not even good kind of crime.
Yeah.
It's so bland and dumb. I mean, who is this? Why are you even doing that?
I know. We gotta find
Watch TV. Yeah.
We gotta find these bots. So I wanted to start off with the classic movie Dracula Dead and Loving It, where you have the funniest scene in the whole movie about the blood.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, like did you know it was going to be that much blood, or like?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I've read a couple of comments on YouTube when I've hunted down that scene to look at or show somebody, and some of the comments say, it's a fact that Weber had no idea that there was going to be that much blood, so his reactions were all spontaneous, and No, I mean, it's a movie and everything is planned to within a fraction of an inch, except for the occasional accidental deaths, which are, they're very rare too. But no, they showed me exactly what was going to happen. You don't really know until you get hit with, fire hose pressure of fake blood. I'm still combing sticky red crap out of my hair, 25 years later. But it was pretty, it was all understood what was going to happen. And it was such a huge mess that we were only able to get 4 takes in that day because it demanded complete cleanup, not only of me, but of the set and everything. It went everywhere. It is a funny scene. And look, I've grown to appreciate that movie over the years because it's not one of Mel Brooks's best movies. And yet there are scenes in it that hold up, that are fantastic. Peter MacNicol is brilliant in it. And of course, Leslie Nielsen. I mean, and I managed to get that one scene in that was really very funny. And that even Mel Brooks acknowledged as one of his favorite funny scenes, which was shocking and affirming in many ways.
Well, my favorite scene in that is when Lucy's like trying to seduce you, and you're like, yeah, well, I'm not unengaged.
Right. Look, it was a funny movie, and we certainly had lots of fun. It hovered precariously near a Mad Magazine parody of a movie. It didn't have the same kind of nuance, if you can apply that word, to Young Frankenstein. It didn't have Gene Wilder's influence in it. That said, it is an enjoyable film. It's it doesn't tax you. You sit back and you watch the zany antics of Transylvania's favorite son.
Now, is it easier for you to do comedy or drama? Because you have such a great range of both.
I mean, they both present challenges. Doing drama, straight drama, or dark stuff, puts you in a frame of mind all day that isn't necessarily pleasant, but that's the challenge of being an actor, and that's the job description. Doing a comedy is generally more fun, but both of them have their own respective challenges and requirements. And so, yeah, I mean, I've been able to go back and forth. I'm very grateful for that, but I'm just grateful to do any of this work, really.
Yeah. And then, so like another question is, when you're looking at a script, do you like concentrate on like the writing, make sure like it flows with your style before you say, okay, I want to do this part? Or like,
well, I guess, yeah. I mean, I mean, really, the actor's job is to say what is written by the writer who broke their ass writing the part. Occasionally, an actor can, make modifications or even improvise if it's allowed. But yeah, I look at the dialogue and see if it flows, see if I can say it, see if I respond to this character, if it resonates within me, if it's something that I think I could do reasonably well, then yeah, I'll go forward. I mean, I've turned down a few things in the past that were either just not me at all, or I didn't see any clear way into understanding this character enough to portray it, or it was just so rotten. Either the writing was bad, or the situation that the character was in was so kind of vile and repulsive that, as fearless as I am, or as I consider myself to be, either on stage or in front of a camera, I just didn't feel like doing it. It just wouldn't have suited me.
Has there ever been a project that you've rejected that, like, years down you realize, oh, maybe that was a bad move because you saw it and thought it was good?
I mean, not anything that sounds great, like, oh, I could have been in The Graduate, or they wanted me for Princess Leia, or nothing that rises to the level of kind of kicking myself because I could have been big, or I could have made an impact on a great film. Usually it just had to do with money. There's a couple of things that I turned down years ago. A TV movie, things paid a lot more money in the 90s, and I guess I was feeling my oats. There's one in particular. I won't even tell you what it is, no one would know what it is. But it was a TV movie, and they were going to pay a lot of money. And I thought, I don't want to do a TV movie now. Of course, it was. I would take it in an instant. But yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say TV movies are actually pretty good, though. Like sometimes are better than theatrical movies.
Well, nowadays, I mean, the world has changed in terms of television. Not only in the way they produce shows, but also in the kinds of shows that are produced. For network TV, it's become more corporate.
Yeah.
Of course, there's many more formats to view television. You could watch it on your iPhone. You can watch it on, you can stream it, et cetera, et cetera. So there's very few kind of old-fashioned kind of TV productions. The show that I'm on, Chicago Med, is kind of an example of what the old-fashioned TV production used to be.
Yeah.
A big, highly organized, hugely and richly packaged program that people, make appointments to see every Wednesday. They watch the whole Dick Wolf, One Chicago World or whatever it is. And they do the same thing for Law and Order, that whole franchise. But also it's changed in terms of how, how salaries are paid, the amount of perks actors get, the schedules. It's all been really pared down, and it's not the way it was. But on the other hand, television and mostly cable have put out absolutely superior, just in terms of bulk and volume, superior programming. There's magnificent entertainment on television, and it's interesting, I think.
Plus, you get all these bot assistants you didn't know you had.
That's the one perk. I really wish we had faceless, nerdy, basement-dwelling mama's boys who could run all our errands in the 90s. It would have been so much easier than having to pay human beings.
Yeah.
It's so insane, man.
Now, you wrote a movie for your dad and your grandfather. Have you ever thought about writing another movie, or was that just a one-type thing?
No, I've written a bunch of things. The fact is that movie got made at a time when it was easier for actors with a scintilla of ambition to go outside their field of acting, to write something or produce something. They could do it with more ease. It's hard to get something produced or made. As hard as it is to write something, once you've tackled that Herculean task, the next phase is to get somebody interested in it. Like each phase is so difficult that I guess I've lost my enthusiasm to try to get something done. However, I am in the process right now of trying to get something done with other writers. It's very hard, and I realize that I don't think I'm that great at it. I might have fun punching up dialogue and stuff. But the act of writing something that is well structured and meaningful, not just entertaining, is a little above my head, and it's not something that I really studied. When I wrote that script, I had help from people. I had help from this playwright named Murray Shiskal, who's no longer alive, and he worked with Dustin Hoffman, and so I got that made, and that was great. That was great. The upshot is that it's even hard to find that particular film. It's called Clubland. It was made on Showtime, and Alan Alda was in it, Brad Garrett. It was really fun to do. I don't know. I wish I'd been more proactive in many ways as a younger actor, and that's the only advice that I would be justified in giving any other young actor when if they have to ask for advice. One is be nice, and the other is start writing and producing and doing stuff with friends and be aggressive about it.
Yeah. I take screenwriting, and like one of the things that like I teach myself is regardless if I sell a script or not, I write with actors in mind for the, you know what I mean, to help it smooth.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I think as a comedian, you should write stuff. I mean, you see, not just based on how successful other comedians have been, but just because, you know, you have a particular point of view, and you just might be able to write something that gets made, that gets out there. It requires discipline. It's not as easy as just running around, you know, belching out ideas and you know, on TikTok or something like that.
My friend interviewed you, and when he told me he interviewed you, I was like, oh my God, I love Steven Weber. I actually wrote something for him, and then he wanted me to mention it to you. I was like, oh,
yeah.
You probably won't even remember because I never met you. I just wrote it. But it was this thing about JFK for Dante.
Oh my God.
So I was like, yeah, it was kind of like, whatever. But so I was like, yeah, he wouldn't really care, but he's like, you should still mention that. That's kind of cool. I was like, he probably would hate me.
Yeah. Listen, I got to go. I don't feel well. So I'm really great talking to you. Nah, look, I mean, you know, it's funny because occasionally somebody says, here, something, read this. And I wrote this with you in mind. And that's incredibly flattering. The reality is that I don't have juice to get things made. You know, I have a good career in many respects. And at the same time, I'm one of the rank and file. You know, I try to fulfill my part of the job as a cog in the big machine. You know, people, the kind of apocryphal stories of, you know, I gave my script to Orson Welles' assistant, and it sat on his desk, and suddenly he read it, and then they made it. You know, and I think that could happen, but man, it's rare. And even if I loved something, and in fact, look, I've had a couple of ideas, like I said, and I've mentioned it to people for years. I've been trying to get something made for years. And the only way it'll get made is if I write it, produce it, direct it. It's like, you know, you have to do everything nowadays. It's you know, my favorite story as a young actor was how supposedly Miami Vice was made. The show Miami Vice, which was definitely before your time. It was a mammoth global hit. Supposedly, Brandon Tartikoff, the end of the head of NBC, wrote down on a Post-it MTV Cops and gave it to somebody, and they made it. You know, and that's the extent mostly of my development, my ideas, my creative development. I'll write down, you know, like Schindler's List puppets, you know, and give it to somebody. Do that, and nobody wants to do that anymore.
Now, you're also a big horror fan. When you do horror films, do you like feel like these are my favorite type of films I want to do?
They can be. I've done a bunch of them, and they are enjoyable to a certain extent. I mean, I've done a few that are really good and fun to do. I did a couple that were really crappy, and I felt like Bela Lugosi in like 1953 in Mexico. You know, it was just bad. It was just a bad experience. They are good and fun things, fun shows. I did one a few years ago for Netflix called The Perfection, which is really very good and creepy as hell and disgusting. And I play a loathsome guy. I actually got tired of playing loathsome men. And I thought maybe I need to do something else before I become one of these guys and actually slaughter somebody. It's just, you know, it's just crummy. But they're fun to do.
Yeah, and a lot of your films too. I don't know if you noticed, but you get a lot of action.
Oh, you mean sex?
Yeah.
Not anymore, brother. No, that's over. I mean, you know, there was a few of those. I want to say in the 90s and early 2000s or mid 2000s, but no more. I'm taking my clothes off for anybody. Nobody wants to see that shit. And yeah, it's and I'm sure people have heard this too, but those are unpleasant to film as well. Those are weird, and there's big beefy grips hanging out all around you while you're trying to, simulate lovemaking with some poor woman, and or in my case, some poor guys. Because I was in this movie Jeffrey, we had to do a bunch of sex scenes, which were fun and hilarious, and the whole world of doing that is really difficult. It's really ridiculous.
Was that the one where you got killed with a high heel?
That's no. Thanks for doing your research. No, that's a single white female. No, that's single white female with Bridget Fonda and Jennifer Jason Leigh, and that was a like a quintessential '80s thriller. I want to say late '80s, yeah, or not 1990 maybe thriller.
Yeah, I did know what, but I wanted to make the joke about the high heel.
I'm glad you did. It was really fantastic. It was really good.
Now, you were on Wings, and then you had, which was also your show, but then you had the Star Show of the Weber show. Like, what was that? What was that like? Transitioning from being starring with one, co-star with one guy, and then having your own show.
Well, to be perfectly frank, it was a real painful experience. It was fraught from the get-go. I got a lot of affirmation from my representatives and who wanted the show to go, probably because it would have meant a payday for everybody had it been successful. We had wonderful cast members, Wendell Pierce, Amy Peets, Chris Elliott, and the concept of the show originally was not unlike, let's say, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Guy wakes up, steps in shit. That's his day, and that's it. Nothing deep. And the network was really on the fence about it. And even though I'd been on Wings, I was sort of an untried kind of a entity in some ways, and it was hard. It was an example of me not really thinking things through. Right. I was just more enamored with the idea of being number one on the call sheet and having a show. It was originally called Cursed, and certain people couldn't get around that concept, so we had to literalize it. They didn't like the metaphor that a guy's life could be cursed unless you had a curse put on you by a witch, or it was madness. It just didn't work out, and as things sometimes don't. So it was hard. It was hard. It was I one of those things that I would wish I could have a reset on and go back and rethink it.
Yeah. Would you choose not to do it and just stay in something else, or would you change the premise a little?
Well, I would have to. The thing is that it's really not a science. It felt like mathematically it was absolutely certain that it was going to be really good and funny. We had good people, good writers, good network, and it just didn't work out. And it's hard to pinpoint why exactly. I suppose if I had been the person then that I am now, I would have thought it through. And if it wasn't viable, I would have said, yeah, maybe we shouldn't do this. Yeah. But it was interesting to endure, and I'm glad I kind of got. I was able to continue on because of it. There's those types of things could cripple a career or cripple someone's psyche. It was really enough to kind of depress a person.
Yeah, I know that because like the guy I toured with before he passed, he had a sitcom. That, Norm Macdonald.
Oh God, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and he just did not like acting at all. Like it made him very uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
But on the other hand, had his show, and he had a couple of shows, I guess. But I remember the one. Yeah, if he had been up, it's time. It's time for you to take your pill.
Well, no, I wanted to respect your time because you had to pick.
No, I got 5 more minutes. I'm really sorry. Yeah, I got to take my goddamn son to the airport. Jesus Christ. Dope. But a guy as great as Norm, and his nuanced comedy. I bet if he had the appreciation of his material that he deserved, maybe he would have gone on. But sometimes it's not worth it. It's not worth the fight sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to respect your time, but I have one last question.
Yeah, we have 3 minutes. Make it a good
All right.
one.
This is I hate when people ask, "Hey, what's it like working with so and so?"
Yeah.
What's it like working with Oliver Platt from when you did the Tempt?
The Temp, was he in the Temp? Yeah. Okay. We didn't have any scenes together. That was ages. I mean, but I knew him back in New York when we were both young actors. He's a great guy. I mean, he's hilarious. He's accomplished. He's smart, and he's fun to hang out with. I mean, we had dinner a couple of weeks ago, and look, it's good to see people who have survived as long as we have. This is a business that almost ensures that people have a short lifespan or a short career span. And we were able to sustain ourselves, and it's with great relief and happiness that we're able to hang out. He's wonderful. He's just a good guy. He's big too. He's big, and I would hate to get him angry. I bet even though he might be slow moving, he could probably pull a person apart like a chicken if he was, like a boiled chicken if he was angry enough. But he's a great dude. He's fun. I'm glad you like him. He's worthy of being liked.
Yeah, I love him. I don't like his bot assistants.
Oh, well, his bot assistants they don't understand him like you. You understand him. Those bots. Yeah, what is that? I mean, really, here's what you need to do. Right from your point of view, find out who these goddamn bots are. And I mean, it's insane how much reach they have, how much influence these horrible gremlins have. I mean, it just shows you that you can build a mighty machine that some idiot can bring to its knees by putting like a stick in the spokes. Bloop, that's the end.
Well, Stephen, where can the folks at home follow you? I know you don't tweet anymore.
I don't. I am on Instagram, and I don't know for how long, because that's also toxic, but it's addictive, and I'm addicted to it. Actually, Stephen Weber is my real blue-checked account, and then everything else is just crap. But then you can follow me. You can follow me on that if you so desire. A mixture of crazy lefty stuff and occasional funny, disgusting stuff.
Well, Stephen, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for saying yes. And,
you bet.
It really meant a lot to me.
Well, thanks a lot, brother. And I'm sorry I have to cut it short, but I have shit to do. I can't stand here all day gabbing to some crazy comic, But one day I would like to see your stand up. And I won't tell you that I'm there. I'll just judge for myself. And if it's great, I'll come back afterwards. If I don't like it, I'll just slip out quietly.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, man.
Right. Have a great day, Stephen.
You too, pal. Thank you for having me.
All right. Of course. All right, guys. Subscribe, rate, and review, and follow Stephen on Instagram. And that's the show, guys. We'll see you later.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.